Well, good morning, everybody. It's Monday, the 17th of February 2025. It's, I'm going to say around 6:30 in the morning. I'm in Launceston in Tasmania, and I'm on my morning run. A bit chilly this morning. I even thought about wearing gloves for a moment or two, and I think it'll warm up, so I just have to put up with the partly chilled hands at the moment. Now, today I'm going to talk about the Sam Kerr situation. So if you're not interested in hearing about Sam Kerr and my thoughts on her situation, then turn the volume down and enjoy the scenery. A couple of things to make clear from the beginning. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know anything about English law, and the court case that she was involved in has been decided and she's been found not guilty, so nothing I say in this video will have any impact on that case. I don't really want to talk about the case, but I will make two observations about it in a moment. So, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know anything about the legislation she was charged under. I don't know Sam Kerr. I've never met her. I think I've only ever seen her play her once. And I'm not here to defend or criticise what she did or was charged with. I'm going to talk about what I see as some of the ramifications of that. Now, for those who don't know, a quick recap. Sam Kerr, was the captain of the Australian women's soccer team that are called the Matildas. She plays in England in the UK Women's Premier League competition for Chelsea Football Club, and in 2023 she was involved in an altercation or disagreement with a cab driver. She and her partner had been celebrating Sam's big win over Liverpool, where I believe she scored a hat-trick. Certainly she scored a goal and made one or I think 3 goals. So she and her partner are out celebrating the win, and after they got into an altercation with the cab driver over a cleaning fee and damage fee for the cab and the fare. He rang the police on his cab, who advised him to drive them to the nearest police station, which he did. When they got to the police station, words were exchanged between Sam Kerr and one of the police officers, and she ended up being charged under racial vilification laws. Wisely, they decided to pay the cab fare and the damage and cleaning fee to the cab. The cab driver wasn't involved, but the police officer insisted that the matter proceed to court, and although in the first instance the Crown Prosecution Service were reluctant to do so, thinking there wasn't really a case here, they ultimately decided they would pursue the case. Now, as I said, she was found not guilty by a jury, so nothing to say about that, other than two observations. One for Sam Kerr, which I think is to say she's learned a valuable but expensive lesson. Expensive because she would have been paying lawyers at something like £10,000 a day just to appear in court for her, and I think it was a 3-day trial. Plus all of the other associated legal costs. And the lesson she's hopefully learned, she didn't already know, is that your actions, your behaviour and your words have consequences. The things you do and the things you say can and do have consequences. Now she probably knew that, but she's been reminded of it in this matter. And the second observation to make is, whilst I understand that being a police officer is a thankless job, and police officers put up with an awful lot during their day, the crux of this case rested on the fact that the police officer was hurt, humiliated, intimidated, words like that, because Sam Kerr, whilst under the influence of too many amber fluids, referred to him as white and stupid. Now, the white is a matter of fact. No question, he's a white guy. The question of his intelligence was not what he was offended by. He was offended by the fact that she referred to him as white. Now, I accept there are laws that exist to tell us we should not vilify people or criticise people based on their skin colour, their religion, their gender, their sexual orientation, or any other aspect of their life for that matter. And we tell kids at school they shouldn't do and say things like that. But an awful lot of court time and British taxpayers' dollars, or pounds spent to prosecute somebody for calling a man who clearly is white. All right, enough about the legal matters. It's the implications for Sam Kerr and the wider implications I want to talk about. And as I say, I'm not trying to defend her, nor am I trying to criticise her. She has answered for that and has to accept responsibility for her behaviour. As the captain of the Matildas, although she's currently not playing because she's injured, there are now some concerns about whether she will in fact be picked for the team again, and if she is picked, whether she would get to be the captain again. On the first question, whether she should be picked or not, the answer should surely be, if her form is good enough, she should be picked to play. At the moment she's not playing, but as soon as she gets back on the field and starts playing, and if she performs well enough, she should be picked. Thank you. As to whether she should be captain, that's a matter for the coach. The coach should make that decision based on what's in the best interest of the team. At the moment there's an interim coach. Presumably a new coach will be announced and appointed soon, and they should decide, is she the best person to lead this team on the pitch and where necessary off the pitch, or given that she's one of the slightly more senior players in terms of age, she may not be the future of the team, and therefore should I look to someone different. And that's the matter for the coach, and it should be only his or her decision based on whether they think she's still got a few more years left playing at international level, can have an influence on the team, or they're thinking she's in the twilight of her international career and I need to look at someone who's going to be around for the long term. To the best of my knowledge, none of Sam Kerr's sponsors or commercial partners, whichever term you're using here, have threatened to withdraw their sponsorship. None of them have walked away. None of them have renewed or threatened to review their commitments or anything like that. And the Chelsea Football Club has said through the current coach, manager, that they feel that there's no need for any further discipline, no need for any further action, that everything that needed to be done has been done. You've not heard from the Football Association in the UK, and the FFA, there's a Football Federation of Australia, are still hedging their bets about what happens next. Now, there are implications, as I said, for women's sport in general, and so I don't want to put the blame or the responsibility for all women's sport on Sam Kerr. He is such a high profile person that the media are interested in everything she does, and the one thing we know about the media is nothing sells like a scandal. Now, 99% of the people who play professional sport, whether male or female, I reckon are probably pretty decent people who do their job, whether it's go to training or play. They do it to the best of their ability, and yes, they're paid a lot more than you and I are. But at the end of the day, after training or after the game, they go home to their families, and they take their kids to school, they watch TV with their children, they help with the homework, I guess, they sit around the dinner table, talk about their day, all that kind of stuff. They're ordinary people like you and I. And a small percentage of them, professional sports people, who do dumb things, just like there are a small percentage of teachers, doctors, tradies, nurses, you name it, who do dumb things. Often those dumb things are done under the influence of too many amber fluids, and that is not an excuse, not a defence, and not a justification, it's just a fact. Now, women's sport in Australia is booming. There are 4 codes of football, and all 4 codes now have national women's competitions. The crowds at those games are getting bigger, the standard of play is getting bigger, the media coverage is wider, the games are being shown on TV and covered on radio, articles are being written in the newspapers about it. There's generally a lot more interest and a lot more coverage for women's sport. That includes not just the 4 codes of football, but cricket, basketball, netball, just about any women's team sport at the moment seems to be doing really well. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing for the players, because hopefully all of that interest results in more sponsorship dollars, more money from sale of TV rights and so forth, and it means that more money is going to the players, and that young girls who want to pursue a career in professional sport can now see a pathway to the top level in AFL or rugby codes or football or basketball or netball, cricket, whatever it is. And that's a good thing. So all of that is a good thing. But as many a male sports person will tell you, the media coverage can be intrusive. There's some notion among the people who work in the media that the fans want and need and have a right to know everything about the player. When in fact, what we really have a right to know about, maybe you're not even a right, but what we really perhaps should know about is what the player does in relation to their job, which is play football or play their sport. So we want to know, it's fair game to report what they do on the field, what they do at training, perhaps even what they do to prepare for the game, maybe talking about their exercise regimes, diet, that kind of thing. What happens outside of that ought to be off limits, ought not to be the business of the media or the fans. And okay, if somebody stuffs up and does something dumb, then perhaps that should be reported, just like if somebody else stuffs up and does something dumb, drink driving, speeding, whatever it else is that people do, they end up in court for. But what happens is because this or that person is a high profile sports person, the media almost camp out on their doorstep. Now, what's this got to do with women's sport is that there will come a time when the amount of coverage, one might use the word intrusiveness, of the media into the lives of women who play sport will be just as intense as it is now for men who play sport. And I can hear some women out there saying, yeah, but women don't do dumb things like men. Right, women never have too much to drink and do foolish things. Women never take illicit substances. Women never say things in the heat of an argument or in the spur of the moment that, excuse me, that could be illegal, as in Sam Kerr's case, or that they afterwards will regret. Of course they do, because they're human beings and they make mistakes. So the point I'm making here, and whilst I'm not putting all the blame for that or the responsibility of it on Sam Kerr's shoulders, I'm saying that the almost moment to moment media saturation of her 5-minute storm in a piccolo cup trial for calling someone white and stupid is an indication, I think, of what's potentially in store for women professional sports players. And what can they do about that? Well, I guess nothing. They can behave themselves, as I'm sure 99% of them do. Someone at the club they play for can run classes, as they now do the male players and prepare them for what's coming, or what might be coming if they do something dumb. Can suggest to them that if they're planning on a big night out, that they make sure that someone is designated to be the sober person and the cool head when things go pear-shaped. But ultimately, it's going to be, excuse me, down to the individual players what happens when and if they do something dumb. Alright, well, that's all I want to say about Sam Kerr and her situation. Thanks for listening. Hope you, if you have a comment, you know where to put it. If you'd like to like, share, subscribe, all that sort of stuff, you know what to do. When I become aware of your comment, I will respond. If you weren't particularly interested in my ramblings about Sam Kerr and her situation, I hope you enjoyed the scenery, early morning trip around Launceston, and I'll catch you when I'm making the next video. Thanks for watching.